Welcome back, friends. So now I'm trying a voiceover. The first part of the video I did with music, and the second one I wanted to try a voiceover. So this is when I just arrived at Hassan's place. We drove directly to his shop and I started working on the stool I wanted to make for him. We only stopped at the hardware store to get some rollers, but these are the ones I got and I think they're quite fine. Um, yeah, so the whole idea of the build was that the stool is going to be height adjustable, and I was immediately starting to work on how to make it height adjustable. So I needed to get a big ass lead screw and then two nuts in order to center it on. This is what you see here. So I just tried to fix it in the middle of the lead screw and then just cut it off at the end where I don't need the rest anymore. By the way, it was really great to just have Hassan shop at my availability. He has a nice bandsaw, as you see there, and also a nice belt grinder. His homemade build is really cool. The belt that was on was a bit dull, but yeah, I need to get one. So here you see the idea of the whole weld together part. I just tried to get the zinc off of the nut and screw it together, like tighten it, and now it's centered. So the idea of that thing was to center it with the two nuts. And then I just went ahead and welded everything. First tack it and then weld it. I think it was plenty strong. It could have probably only been tack welds, but of course you just don't do only tack welds. As you can see, I'm not a good welder. I'm trying to get better, but I have to say the Phonius machine is an absolute beauty and it welds so butter smooth. It's a great machine. So I fixed the first nut on the tubing and now I want to weld it onto the stool. I know I could have probably drilled a hole in the bottom so he would be able to go further down, but that wasn't needed anyway because the end of the last video was showing he just needs 50 centimeters at the minimal height, and that's what I went with. That all was just fine like that. Yeah, I welded the whole tube onto the stool also because these welds were visible. I tried to pay attention a bit to how clean they look, and that was all I could get. Yeah, so I now needed 3 base plates for the rollers to tack weld them on. The tubing just wasn't enough, and I placed them just to the outside so they stick out the furthermost, because I was actually a bit afraid that the stool would be able to tip over when you sit on it, but that turned out to be absolutely no problem in the end. Another thing I really started to appreciate working in Hassan's shop, that he actually has really professional equipment there. This welding table is one thing I would get first thing straight when I would build my own shop, because being able to just clamp everything to the table is absolutely phenomenal. I still need to rent a little magnetic drill to be able to drill some holes in our big table as well. That would be really great. As you can see here, after I tacked them and checked that everything is fine, I welded the plates on fully, and that was plenty strong, of course. I wanted to really try and finish the whole thing before the Maker Hub event happened, but that didn't work out. The next day got very hectic, and it was good that I started working this day already. Since I came by train, I was very lucky that Hassan had some wood for me that I could turn the seat out of. And yeah, he just gave me this piece, which was great, and I started working on it. First off, needing to cut it off, and here you see Matthias was just placing the camera stand in front of my view. Then I drew a circle on the piece of wood Hassan gave me and just used my palm as a center point. And the nice bandsaw that he got in order to cut out the rough shape. I think it's hard to see here, but the wood was quite cupped, so after I got the circle kind of round, I started flattening it. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm doing the wave with my hands all the time, this is really an important safety feature to these planers. A friend of mine cut his pinky's tip off when he was not paying attention. And then I pretty much started to find the center of that piece of wood. Yeah, I had nothing long enough to center, so I just prolonged the lines and found it. Drilled a small little plate on it that I could mount to the lathe and then started turning. That was great fun. The outer diameter always chipped on me, and I still don't really know why, but got a few good hints from Philip. Thanks again, man. He really was a great inspiration on the next day. He showed everyone how to turn and everybody could give it a try. And then it was time to order pizza. The idea was to not overcomplicate the seat. I wanted it to be a bit cupped inwards, so you have a comfortable roundness to it. And I got a few interested looks on how it turns out. You have to know, I didn't tell Hassan that this thing I was making what was actually meant to be his welding stool. He told me once that he has nothing to sit on while welding, and the little other wood stool I was showing in the last video was a bit too small, so I built something that you could just turn up and be elevated a bit more for the height of the welding table, so I think it turned out great. As you can hear, that was the next day. We started bright and early, and man, it was packed. It was great, so many people in the shop, and yeah, just working, running in between people. It was such a great atmosphere, and I loved the event. It was really a good experience.
I'm just trying to get a small bit of view.
Since the finished wood needed some time to dry off, I continued with a metal plate that needs to attach to it, and I marked off the whole locations to fix it. This was such a great shot. I just kept it running because I really liked how Lucas was signing off the posters he brought from his own prints. And yeah, everybody that wanted one got one and got it signed, and that was really such a cool thing. What you might not actually see here is that this is not me welding. It was pretty cool because Hannes Unbehagen from Instagram was welding this. He never used a MIG welder before, but he's really good at WIG already. And of course it's best to just spoil yourself from the get-go with the best machine on the market. That was it already. I needed to fix the plate on the wooden part on the seat and screw it in, and I was done. So thanks again, Hassan, for inviting me. I had a really great time and I would love to do that again. Thanks to everyone that came out as well. It was cool to have so many people around and so many projects and good talks and laughs, and yeah, thanks guys.